Hello everyone. So I've gone out and purchased one of these, which is the SG90 micro server. Really dirt cheap on Amazon and absolutely great for integrating with the Raspberry Pi. Now, if we're using a singular servo motor with the Raspberry Pi, pretty much a decent power supply will power this. If not, and you're wanting to use more servos, and I will do a separate video on this, you'll be needing something like this, a PCA 9685 16 channel controller. You'll have an additional power supply to in there, but I'll do a separate video on that. With this, one of the things that we want to do is just control this just kind of backwards and forward, just have a little bit of control. I'm not too fussed on refining it at the moment, but the reason being, this servo motor will serve as a control to one of the projects I've got on the board, which is the can crusher. Did some automation with that. It kind of worked, but it didn't work as well as I wanted to. Pretty much I wanted to have magazine fed, like I have done on a previous version. So this will help me. I don't need anything really powerful. It's only going to be kind of moving either a rod or a flap just to control the frequency of the cans dropping down. Apart from that, we should be good to go. So anyway, without further ado, let's have a look at the code. And if we go into here, in good old Blue Peter fashion, here's some code I prepared earlier. So with this, we don't need to do all that much to it. So we're importing the RPi GPIO as GPIO, basically getting the GPIO pins ready, and we're getting the time library, so we can play around with how long durations will be. So we're setting the pins up. So I've got this here on for GPIO pin 18. I mean, you can use any of them, but I just picked 18. And whilst I go through this, just to be clear with these, is when you get these, they do look like they have got, I mean for me anyway, looks like brown, an orangey colour, and then a yellow. Now, in other tutorials you do see them pretty much very clear that you've got a red, orange and yellow. The colour's not quite right. So just to be clear then, for this one, if it looks orange, I'm pretty comfortable. If you've got one that looks the colours like mine, is if it looks orange, you're pretty much going to be on a voltage out. So that's 5 volts. You've got then your brown, which actually becomes your ground or your black wire. And then you've got your yellow, which is your pulse width modulation wire. So this is where the command to go through comes in. If you get it connected up like this and use this code, you're pretty much going to have some form of control to start with, and this puts you in a very good position to start tinkering without too much effort. So apologies, we'll go through. So we've set up the GPIO pins. We've set up the setting up the frequency of a duty cycle of 0. But what we'll do is we'll go through here and it will change the duty cycle to 2 and change the angle. We'll set the sleep time. This actually I have this at 1, but let's bring it down. I'll show you the difference between the two in a second. So put that to 5. So for every half a second, it'll do a move and then stop. But what we'll also do is we'll stop sending the signal altogether. So this should reduce any form of jittering, and we'll show you shortly on how that will work. So what we'll do is we've got the set angle. We'll move to 0 degrees. Then we'll move to 90. Spin it around to 180. And each time where it says sleep 1. That's your 1 second. So that's the code, so we'll just save that. And then we'll run it. And as you can see, it's moving through the sequence, so 0 degrees, 90 and 180. And that's all I wanted to do at the moment. We can play around moving it more, so let's control and stop. We'll go in, and I might want to say, for example, let's take this 180 and then change it to 45 and do another 45. Probably going to break. You can see there, you can play around with the angles to whatever you want to. I mean, whilst it says move to in terms of the print, obviously I didn't change that, but if you're going to do the proper way, you'd amend your print statement to be reflective of. So just put that back, and off we go. So let me know whether you think that this is good enough to kind of kick on with any form of project for you. I think I'm going to be doing some more of these, and again I am going to sort out with this at some point, so we can control more. The more servos, the more code, the more fun, debugging, and all the rest of this stuff. But anyway, if you want to like, share and subscribe, the usual stuff, let me know how this goes. Thanks.